Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to get this very smoky eye, my transition into spring, while still being on the darker side, you know. Figured I would do one more dark smoky look before I completely transition into spring, where I'll probably be doing more lighter pastel brushy looking looks, you know. So if you want to see how to get this look, then just keep on watching. So I'm going to start off with priming my eyes with the La Base from Lancome. This is in the shade Nude. This is pretty similar to the MAC paint pot. I'm going to go in with the Tarte Tartlet in Bloom palette and use the shade Charmer to set my primer. This is just going to help all the other shades we're going to be using blend together easier. Also, if you can see it, please ignore this dry patch on my eye. This winter is killing me, and it's not that bad of a winter, so I don't know what's going on, but my eyes have been so dry, and it's crazy because I'm constantly moisturizing, especially around my eyes because they're always dry, but never like this. So I don't know what's going on. Bear with me. So I'm going to take this Sweetheart shade as my first transition shade on my Lancome number 17 brush. This is just their basic blending brush. And this is just going to be our first transition shade. And you want to look down when you're working in the crease, just so you're really getting deep into that crease. Next I'm going to be taking the Modern Renaissance palette from Anastasia. Let me just grab a brush. And I'm going to use my MAC 217 and the shade Love Letter. I'm just going to lightly dip my brush in there and tap off the excess because I want to build the color up. I don't want to go in too harsh right away. And anytime you take a shade, you want to start blending it in the middle of the crease, because if you start on the outer corner, it's going to be darker there and harder to blend out. Just want to start here. I'm going to bring it up a little more because I'm going to have a shade, a darker shade all over the lid. So I want these crease shades to pop more. We're just going to keep building the color up to where we want it. Take the shade Venetian Red on a Morphe G13. This is more of a tapered blending brush. Just a little bit. Not hardly any product on there. Before I go in with my lid shade, I'm going to take this L'Oreal Infallible eyeliner in the shade Brown. And I'm just going to put that as close to my lash line as possible. Don't worry about making it perfect because we're going to smudge it out. I actually changed my mind. Instead of using the brown, use a black liner. I'm just going to go over that because I'm going to use a darker lid color. So don't worry about using the brown. Just go in with black. I'm taking that Morphe brush. Just going to smudge it out. You're not really... Gonna deepen that lash line up. I'm gonna go into the Lorac Pro palette. This is the first one, and take Sable and use that as our lid shade. And this is a Morphe 167 brush. Just go right over that liner. We're really gonna pack this on. And feel free to use any medium to dark brown for this. Doesn't have to be that one. Now you can either go in with the Espresso from this palette, or if you're using the Modern Renaissance palette, you can go in with the Cypress Umber. I'm going to use Espresso, and I'm taking that same Morphe 508, the small smudger brush. Taking that on there. And I'm just going to go right on along that lash line where we put the eyeliner. Go back in with Sable. Just gonna keep building it up till I think it's blended enough. And I'm actually gonna take a Luxie 229 tapered small blending brush and take Sable just a little bit. And I'm going to just blend that into the crease as low as possible without covering the other shades, just so the brown from our lid blends in with those crease colors. I'm going back in with my MAC 217 without adding any product. Just gonna blend those shades together once again. Okay, so once you get it blended to your liking, I just cleaned up the edges with a makeup wipe. Now I'm gonna go in with the Maybelline Big Shot mascara. I've been really liking this. Why does my face look so red though? I don't know what's going on. Do I ever know what's going on? I forgot to curl my lashes.
I just wanted to point out that my eyeshadow's looking a little patchy. I don't know if it was from the primer or what, but normally this doesn't happen, especially with these eyeshadow palettes, so it had to be the primer, so I had to fix it later on.
Today I'm going to be going in with the Eyelure Vegas Nay Grand Glamour lashes because they're just such a dark eye. I want to keep it dramatic. Once you get those lashes on, I'm just going to take a little bit of the Espresso and go right on top of that lash line just to hide the lash band. I can't even see what I'm doing. So now we're going to move on to the skin. I'm going to prep my skin with the Mario Badescu facial spray with aloe, cucumber, and green tea, just to add some hydration before we prime. So to prime, I'm going to be using my Becca Backlight Priming Filter Primer. It's my favorite primer. I've used it in, I think, almost every single video. But this just keeps my skin hydrated and adds a glow to my dry skin. And it does feel a little tacky, so when I wear this, I really do feel like my foundation lasts all day long. For foundation today, I'm going to be using the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. This is in the shade Golden Tan. Hopefully it matches. I bought this foundation when it came out, and everyone was really raving about it, but I don't know. I wasn't too crazy about it when I first tried it, so I want to try it again, and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to take this Morphe G36 brush to start blending it out, and then I'm going to go back over it with my beauty blender. So far so good. Pretty good coverage. I mean, it is good coverage, but I don't know, I don't see anything special about it. Lately I've been using the Cover FX Compact Cream Foundation, and I really like that one. So I want to wear this throughout the day and see how this wears, because I don't remember. I haven't used it since like last year or a couple months ago, so we shall see. Alright, for my cream contour, I'm actually going to use the RCMA Cream Foundation. This is just a sample. On the RCMA website, I actually bought a whole palette of their cream foundations, but I bought it in the olive collection. They have like different groups of shades or whatever. And that one was way too peachy for my skin. Like, none of the colors in there would work for me. But the great thing about RCMA is you can actually buy samples of their foundation shades. They're like $1.50 each. So I've been testing out different colors to match my skin, and I bought one from like their tan series, the KT series, to see how it works as like a cream contour slash bronzer. So we shall see. You kind of have to warm these foundations up a little bit. Right, no, I'm not going to use this. I'm actually going to switch to my Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Rich to cream contour, because those shades were not working for your girl. Okay. Only need a little bit of this. I just like using a cream contour so that I don't have to use as many powders, because the more powders that you use, the more dry your face is gonna look. So this will bronze my skin up so that I don't have to use as much powder bronzer. I'm gonna add that cream contour to my nose. I just like doing this to set guidelines. Half the time once I go in with concealer, it's almost gone, but just adds a little bit more shading to it. And it's just gonna push up the nose, having this line here and then shading over here. Now to conceal, I'm going to use the Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Medium, as always.
This one's so good. This one's so good.
Now highlight the center areas of my face so that everything's even. On the edge of that with the other side of the Beauty Blender. The only area I'm going to bake today is down my nose, just because I like that to be more defined. And the rest of it, I'm just going to set it. I'm just going to press it into the skin with a damp Beauty Blender. So while everything's setting on my face, we're going to move back to the eyes and finish those up, and then we'll move back to the face, because that's just the way I do things. So I'm going to take my Morphe R41, this from the Rose Gold collection, and the shade Love Letter from the Modern Renaissance palette. And just tap off the excess because you don't want to get the fallout all over your face. And I'm just going to run that along the lower lash line. Now that we look sick, I'm going to take Cypress Umber from that same palette, or you can use Espresso from the other palette on my Morphe 508, the same smudger brush I used before. And I'm going to get that as close to the lash line as possible and blend it out. Going in with the L'Oreal brown eyeliner. I'm going to use that in my waterline. I'm going to take, I think it's called Vermeer from this palette, and use that at my inner tear duct. And I'm going to add mascara, the same, I'm going to add the Maybelline Big Shot to my lower lash line. I can never just say like lower lash line. It's lower lash line. Like, why do I do that? Why do I go all high pitched? I don't get it. Dust away that powder. Push it in. So we're going to move on to the face, and to bronze I'm going to be using the Alexis and Colourpop collaboration. This is the Topaz palette. This was their first powder, bronzer, and highlighter that they came out with, and it's so pretty. I've only used this like once too, so I don't remember exactly how I like it. And also, right now, not loving this foundation.
So if you look by my chin area, you can notice that this foundation was making my skin look a little gray, and I noticed that before I started using my concealer. So yeah, not a fan.
So for my highlight, I'm going to be using the Estee Lauder Heat Wave that just relaunched not too long ago. This is what it looks like. I've actually never used this yet, so I'm so excited. I used to hear people rave about this all the time when it was still like discontinued, and I always wanted to know what it was like. Oh yeah. This kind of reminds me of Gilded Honey a little bit. It has kind of a lot of sparkle in it. Glitter, a little bit of glitter. For blush, I'm going to be using Tarte's Genius, which is more, it has more of that berry and mauve undertone in it. Normally, I only use peach blushes, but figured I'd step out of my comfort zone to match my eyelids. I'm gonna contour my nose. Oh, I'm using the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, and I'm using the metal shade, just in case you were wondering. So for lips, I'm going to use Lumiere 2 from Colourpop. It's an ultra matte lip, and I'm also going to use the Lumiere lip pencil. So that's the lips. Once it dries a little darker, just so you know. So this is the completed look. Overall, I'm not a fan of that foundation, the Hourglass one. I've given it a few shots, and every time I use it, it just doesn't change. So I won't be using that again, but everyone's skin is different, so just because it didn't work for me doesn't mean you shouldn't try it yourself, because there's an overwhelming amount of people that love that foundation. So it just might not work for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And, you know, you can subscribe if you want. That would be cool. Just mentioning it. Also, be sure to follow me on my Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. I have them all listed below with my handle. And also check out the description bar for all the products I used. I put them in there every single video, just in case you're wondering. But yeah, I'll see you in my next video.